Hi, welcome to Crime in the Mitten. We are your hosts. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Alia.
Every week, you'll hear a new true crime story based in Michigan, from the mysterious missing cases to the gruesome murders that left the police struggling to stay on the scene. We're giving you the inside scoop on what's going on in our Mitten state. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of Michigan true crime.
Hey there, true crime lovers. It's that time again, one of our favorite time, short case week. Like we said last month, we come across a few cases that we would love to discuss. Then we do all the research and realize that there's maybe only 3 articles total that we can read about it. So we both choose 2 cases out of our short case list and mash them up into one regular length episode. But before we get to the true crime stuff, it's still February, so we have 2 more self-care tips to share with you guys. Mine is to find something funny and entertaining on YouTube at the end of your day to end your day on a positive note. My favorite thing to watch on YouTube is Hi Ho Kids.
I love those kids.
I've mentioned it here before, and they're like absolutely hilarious.
They are. They're so cute. Kids say the darnest things ever.
And although there are a couple like sad or touchy episodes, they're so funny and I can literally watch them all day long.
Agreeable. I watched a couple of them when you were sending me the list and stuff, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. It was like I watched one where they met a plastic surgeon,
Yes.
and the little girl at the end, she was like, "Okay, I heard what your job description does." So my sister got 3 boobs.
Has 3 boobies.
What can you do for her? And he was like, I think that is not bothering her. And she's like, oh, no, they're growing.
No, it keeps growing.
they keep growing. And I'm like, okay, somebody get this little girl off.
You know, we've talked to a couple surgeons, but they're all for grown-ups. There's nothing they can do about it. She's just a little girl.
SOL. Like, they are the cutest, though. I swear I love them.
I just want to put it out there now. Like, I can't name a favorite because if I start to try to name a favorite kid, the list will go on through half the cast.
No, I get that.
But, like, if there's ever an episode where where they say Cavalli's father, like, finally passed, I'm gonna lose it. I don't know how I'm gonna react because it's so sad when they, like, talk to his granddad about his cancer.
Yeah.
When there's an episode when he passed, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I know, because you honestly, like, she doesn't want to say she has a favorite or anything like that, or she'll name her list, but Cavalli really is like her top 5.
Cavalli's hilarious.
She literally sent me a message like, just watch Cavalli's moments. I was like, okay, a little biased, but but he's so funny, and he's just like,
the episode of like just Cavalli highlights are hilarious.
No, they are. Like, you would think like how old is this kid really? Like, this is a grown man in the kid's body, and like the questions he asks, just the things that he say, I'm just like, he needs to be my best friend. So that's a pretty good one. So mine is yoga. I've been getting into yoga a little bit more lately. And at first I kind of didn't see the point of like, how can you like not stress with yoga?
The point?
Yeah, I really don't get the point of it like at first, but now that I do it more, I notice that like I be so focused on like doing the positions than actually like stressing about everything else. Like, I'm so focused on that, and then like
he's so focused on trying to get the position.
Yeah,
right?
I want to look like the person that's showing me the position. I'm like, no, I don't like. Trust me. And then the thing is, I'm an overachiever, so sometimes I try to do poses that I know dang well that I shouldn't be doing. But I'm so focused on that everything else that was going on in my mind has went away. And then I was like really messing up at first when I started because I wasn't breathing because I was so focused on it. And now I breathe and I focus. So it's been a game changer for me. So,
well, now I told you about that Facebook group that I'm in. And we did a 30-day yoga challenge in January. So everybody was like doing yoga with Adrian. Yoga with Adrian is cool. She's just really intense for beginners.
Yeah.
So I found an app that's a lot chiller than Adrian. Hopefully one day I'll be on Adrian's level, but for now I cannot.
You're like,
I'm going to stick to the daily yoga app.
Because you gotta warm yourself up. Like, I really thought that yoga you could just kind of jump right into it, but you can't. So hey, that's what's up. So Alia is going to start off with the first case, and that is something I actually been like really looking, because Alia makes her notes so enticing, like her transcripts. It's in purple right now, so when I go in and put mine in, I'm like, well, I can't look at it yet, so.
No, but like if you guys follow us on Instagram, you see like the constant battle with me and Shelby.
Yeah, because
in our notes.
Yeah, because honestly,
my notes are all like sparkly and different
like,
colors.
How are you doing true crime in rainbow sets? Like,
and her notes are in black ink.
Yeah, I don't even use blue ink.
So when I do to tell our transcript for the short case is all on one page. So I try to make mine in a different color so it stands out, or when I'm reading it, I know where to stop and where to start. And then Shelby's is just in black.
Yeah, and mine's just in black. But I'm okay with that though, because it fits me. It's really fitting for me. It's a natural look.
And here's mine, bright purple.
Yep.
But my first case for this week is the disappearance of Cindy Moore. Cindy Louise Moore was a 28-year-old white female. She had brown hair and green eyes and was 5'7" and about 115 pounds. On May 23rd, 1986, Cindy Moore ended her shift at the post office in Troy, Michigan at 11 p.m. She was supposed to go to her soon-ex-husband's house, William Moore, to pick up their son in Warren. A coworker saw her driving her black and silver 1984 Ford Tempo near the intersection of 14 Mile and 75 at 11:15 p.m. that night. That was in the direction of getting her son from Warren, but she never made it to him. She has not been seen or heard from ever since. Cindy and William Cindy called William around 10 p.m. to say that she was running late. He called the police to report her missing the following morning when she had not yet arrived. It was thought that maybe she went to spend the holiday weekend with some of her friends because Monday was Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she had went off to celebrate with some friends without telling anyone. When she hadn't made it home by Tuesday, they knew things weren't good.
Right, because she wouldn't just leave her son.
Right.
Hanging
like Nicholas
that.
Was like her life. She wouldn't just leave him.
Right.
Especially starting up a divorce that was her son at that point was who she had.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't just, it wasn't like her to just up and leave her son. Cindy's mother, Barbara Hicks, said that her daughter was not dating, and if she was going out somewhere, it would have been with a few close friends. William said that he believed that she had started hanging with the wrong crowd and staying out a lot. Cindy was living with her parents in Clarkston, but had made a down payment on a mobile home for her and Nicholas in Auburn Hills. She had planned to move there soon with her son. She left behind all her clothes since her disappearance, her bank account hasn't been touched. About a week after her disappearance, on May 30th, her car was found abandoned in a parking lot of the Abbey Theater at I-75 and 14 Mile Road. Police determined that it had been there since May 24th, the day after she went missing. There were no cameras in the parking lot, so it's really no telling how long her car had, or telling how her car got there or when exactly it got there.
Right.
That was a busy movie-going weekend because it was a holiday weekend.
Right.
And it's no telling, like, the trash around her car, any evidence around her car could have been picked up. It was there for so long. No telling how many people hit the car, bumped the car, erased fingerprints, bumping into the car. Like, anything could have happened in that parking lot that weekend.
Because everybody has bumped the car in a parking lot a couple times.
Right.
Or I'm just, like, making an overstatement because I do it at least, like, every trip I tend to bump into something a lot. I'm not the most balanced person.
That Memorial weekend was also rainy. And because her car wasn't spotted there until 3 days after that Memorial Day, is like I said, any evidence could have just been erased.
All that could have been just gone or washed away at that point.
The car was locked when it was found and the keys were nowhere around. They couldn't find any evidence of a struggle. Her husband was considered a main suspect in his disappearance. She claimed that he had assaulted her during arguments and grabbed her by her throat before, and that's what caused her to move out and into the home with her parents. It didn't help William's case that he had just had his swimming pool filled and covered after her disappearance.
Wait, so after her disappearance, he had it covered?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, not suspicious at all.
Exactly.
Insert sarcasm.
But in 1992, the police dug up his pool and his entire backyard in search of her body, but they didn't find anything. Cindy's co-workers chipped in to hire a private detective in hoping to find her. Her family, friends, and co-workers, and just people in general around the area searched for her that entire summer. There was a theory that maybe Cindy wanted to start her life over and run away. If that were the case, you would think like she would take some of her clothes or take some money out of her account before she left. But
and I don't see her just starting over without her son. I don't know.
And he was so young. It's like she could have easily started over by taking him with her.
That's really sad.
Yeah. She had just put a down payment on a new place for her and Nicholas. She was known as a loving and caring mother, not someone who would just pick up and leave her son. Others suspected suicide, but still, where's her body, her keys, her purse, like everything that she had with her that day? The one that people most suspect is that she was murdered. Maybe she went to meet someone and they took her away to never be seen again.
That's really... It's kind of like, is eerie the right word for it though? Like never knowing what happened.
Never knowing what happened to your child.
That's the one thing I don't like about, like, I love missing cases and all, and disappearance, like to do them and stuff. But then at the same time, those are also the ones that keep me up a lot longer because I'm like, I don't know the answer, and I need to know the answer to everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I need to know what happened. So, to stay in the theme of Valentine's Day, my first short case for you all is a murder that took place on Valentine's, which was kind of hard to find one because we discussed it. Like, Alia was like, were you going to do a case that's on Valentine, like related to Valentine's Day? And I'm like, the only thing that was popping up was something about the Purple Gang. And I was like, I don't want to talk about them right now. Like, they're actually worth, and they're worth an episode of its own.
Yeah.
So, you know how First 48 is known for their clever and funny episode titles? I feel like if they would have covered this case, it would have been something like My Bloody Valentine or something like that. Because we all know they're petty. Because if this is a long case, that would definitely have been the name for that I chose to pick it to make the case. So 43-year-old Dawn Dixon Bey called police to tell them that her boyfriend, 49-year-old Gregory Stacks, had been stabbed in their home on 807 Stewart in Jackson, Michigan. She went on to say that she believed that he was stabbed during an altercation with some other people prior to her getting home, and that once she did get home, she found him on a couch dead. Later on, she admitted that it was actually her who did the stabbing, and that she was only acting in self-defense. So that story just...
Why did you just say he was after me and I killed him?
Yeah, I don't know. That sounded better at the time. I don't know, maybe quicker to get the police there. I don't know what she was thinking. Dawn claimed that Gregory had been drinking and he had become abusive and physical the day of the killing. She said that he had also thrown a dog cage at her. And while in the heat of things, Gregory had this evil blank stare on his face and began to push, shove, and grab her. She stated on the stand during her trial that normally there was someone in the house when they got into these altercations to stop him. But this was the first time that they were alone, and she wasn't quite sure what Gregory would do to her with nobody being there to stop him.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they were in the kitchen when she grabbed the knife, and she even said she was just holding it like down at her side when she grabbed it, and she yelled at him to leave her alone. She then states that Gregory launched at her, she closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, Gregory had lifted up his shirt to see the stab wounds in the heart that she had just done. Yeah. That's why I wanted to name it My Bloody Valentine. Like, she really went for the heart. She then said that he just walked into the living room, sat on the couch, and died.
Okay.
Yeah. From this story alone, it sounded like she really was defending herself until police arrived on the scene, and they concluded that something else had happened instead. Her story just didn't seem like it was adding up. Authorities said that the act seemed more premeditated than an act of self-defense. And it was also said that Gregory was actually stabbed while on the couch, and that it seemed as if it was more premeditated than self-defense, due to the fact that Gregory had no defense wounds, just the 2 knife wounds on his chest, and there wasn't even anything under his nails to suggest, like, maybe there was a struggle.
Right.
She had also had an incident before, and here it is, where she stabbed Gregory, and that was definitely brought up in court. So this was something that she's done before.
Him in an argument?
Yeah, she done stabbed him before. This wasn't her first body, Leah. So also, Don had gotten rid of the murder weapon, and it still hasn't been recovered to this day. The trial lasted for 8 days, and she was originally charged with first-degree murder, but on January 27, 2016, the jury convicted her instead for a second degree, which doesn't need the requirement of being premeditated. Mm-hmm. The judge over the case had very strong emotions about this case and made comments like, only a cold-blooded and depraved heart could do something like this. And he also told her, the only flaw that Gregory Stacks had was staying in a relationship with her. This has been the most vocal judge that I've, encountered in research so far. And I was like, I didn't know they had that much to say. They could say so much. The judge cited the guidelines of 12 to 20 years, but he said that this does not account for the cold-blooded nature of 2 stab wounds in the heart. In response, Dawn said that she had allowed fear to take over her at the moment, and that killing Gregory is her burden that she has to live with for the rest of her life. Dawn ended up filing an appeal and said that the claims deprived her of her constitutional rights during the trial. She said that the court admitted evidence from the first time she stabbed Gregory, and also the detective who testified and said that it didn't look as it was the scene was an act of self-defense, isn't an expert in those kind of things, and that's what really persuaded the jury. But if you did this before,
right? Why would you mention doing it before?
It's just like, because I think it was on record. So, and then they can bring that up against you. You have a history of stabbing people. I think that needs to be known.
That they did bring it up.
Yeah, yeah, the audacity. So. It was also said that his claims were incorrect and that it also helped the jury to make their decision as well. So yeah, this was definitely something like she when she was in court, she tried to come off as remorseful, but it was just like, I don't really believe it though. You stabbed him before.
You did it.
And you stabbed him in the heart twice. And you only said when the police arrived that you did it once in self-defense. So it was just a lot of blanks in her story.
Right.
I don't know.
She didn't think that they were going to notice 2 stab wounds instead of 1.
Right. I don't know. But hey, that's Dawn B. Dixon. So yeah, and it was crazy that I'm like, wow, this is it kind of feels like a real Valentine's case because right to the heart. She tried to play Cupid. It's a really sick version of Cupid. All right, Leah, you're up.
Okay, so the next case is really short, 2 paragraphs short. So, it's another missing case on Lisa Marie Knight. Lisa Marie Knight Frey was a 25-year-old white woman. She was about 5 feet tall and 120 pounds with blonde hair and green eyes. Lisa was really into art and was accepted into art school, but had been struggling with a drug addiction since she was a teenager. She wanted to get her life together in order for her 4 children. She knew that she couldn't take care of them the way that she needed to, and gave them up to other families who would. In 2012, she was working to clean up her life. She was once married to her much older husband, Lloyd Frey. They had 2 children together. Lloyd was not a great influence on her life, but she loved him. She had a large tattoo on her chest with his name in it.
That's love right there.
Right, across her whole chest.
Oh,
just
wow.
a tattoo of his name.
That's intense. You didn't even get a little spot on your butt or something? No. That's
somewhere it is.
Somewhere a lot more that could be hidden.
Everybody gonna see that.
Yeah.
Although the couple had divorced, they had an on and off relationship. On June 8th, 2012, the 2 had planned to go visit their youngest son. Even though the visit didn't happen, she still went to his house, or she still went to Lloyd's house. And 10:30, Lisa called her friend asking her to please come get her, then later backed out saying she didn't need a ride. Her mother thinks she overdosed on drugs and her body was disposed of. Her father shut down the allegations of her running off to do drugs because throughout her addiction she had never gone missing before.
Yeah, so it's not like she had behavior.
Right, it's not like she had this behavior of just the one of the ones who
that runs
get what they need and leave for however long and then come back when they need more or when they need somewhere to sleep. She never disappeared throughout her addiction.
And that's where like they keep having these cases where like the women with kids are just leaving,
just
like
disappearing.
I get like I don't see that, especially if she doesn't have a history of it.
Yeah, they just want to know where their daughter is to give her the proper burial she deserved.
Yeah, and as they should though. Everyone deserves answers. Right. We actually did a like a little poll on Facebook, you guys, of asking like of like the cases you guys like, and like for the most part everyone's like murder fans and stuff, which you guys are crazy.
We had enough missing, so we had to throw something into the short cases because there's not a lot of background behind missing cases.
Yeah, and like I think that we get so caught up in like having an ending all the time that we're like we kind of go straight for like the murder cases though. So we are going to try to add more.
You know how they end.
Yeah, and I think I got a missing case coming up for March too. That's pretty big, and I'm pretty sure I think a lot of people have been asking me about. But yeah, so we actually listened to you guys.
Right.
All right. The next case I'm going to tell you about, I'm not quite sure if this is a missing case, a suicide, or just someone who really wanted a fresh start with no strings attached. I'm just going to leave this up to you guys. And I wish there was more from this story because my brain has came up with so many theories that I don't know how I got any sleep working on this. Connie Converse, whose name at birth was Elizabeth Eaton Converse, was born August 3rd, 1924. Her brother described her as outspoken, brave, and wildly talented. She also excelled in all of her academic programs and was valedictorian in high school. Whoop whoop to her because high school stressed me out. I just wanted to get done.
My mom at graduation, when Jasmine was giving her speech, she was like, "That's Alia's best friend. She got valedictorian. Alia over there sitting with everybody else." Like, what?
First off, there can only be one. Which I think we actually had we had two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird, but cool. Her father was a minister. I hate that when because I'm reading off of my phone and it like decides to edit on its own. Her father was a minister and her mother was a musical teacher. She was raised as a Baptist and it was said that her parents were really strict. As a sign of rebellion, Elizabeth changed her name to Connie and started drinking and smoking, which I had a phase where I wanted my parents to call me Storm because, I had this like emo phase when I was in high school. And I was like, don't call me Shelby. And my dad was like, girl, I'm not calling you that. But her name picked up. So her parents' response to her rebelling against them was pretty much not acknowledging her music career. And her dad even died without hearing a song from her. And she also had like a performance on TV once and they didn't even watch it.
No, it really sucked if my parents weren't supportive at all. Like,
I know. I feel like it's
craft things, they pay for almost everything. And then like the podcast thing, they listen. Like it would really suck if my parents didn't support what I did.
Yeah, I feel like that's like because you like no matter what, you aim to please your parents.
Exactly.
Like, and it's just like, I'm trying. So I feel like that also played a part in like later on in the situation. So in the mid-50s, Connie moved to New York and shared a place with a group of friends who actually supported and encouraged her musical career. They would have Connie perform at little parties that they threw. And while trying to jump kick her music career, Connie worked at a printing firm to pay the bills. Because, you got to have something to pay the bills in the daytime. She met Gene Deitch, which I'm pretty sure I'm not saying his name right, and recorded a song in his kitchen. When Gene thought back on the music Connie made, he said that all of her songs were really about her when he thinks about it. The song always dealt with sexual frustration and loneliness. And although her songs had an underlying meaning to them, they were ahead of their time. They had a certain depth and intimacy to them that just wasn't around in those days. And it was just like they were saying, like, this is the way that she was. Like, she was the first to, like the first kind of, like, the OG of like Taylor Swift kind of, because she was like a singer and a songwriter too. So she began to grow discouraged and restless and began to drink and smoke a lot more than she originally did. And her friends, like, it came after like her, like Jean and along with her friends tried so hard to get Connie's music out there, but it was like no matter what they did, it wasn't sticking. Yeah, nothing was ever successful. And she was watching all these other musicians like blow up and stuff like that, and she's like, so it definitely had her feeling some kind of way. She then turns her back on music and moves to Ann Arbor, close to her brother Phil, who worked at the University of Michigan. In Michigan, she finds work as a journalist, but her brother noted that Connie was growing more and more tired with the routine life and that she craved more. Like, he's seen it in her eyes that, like, this was not for her.
Right.
In 1973, she found out that she needed a hysterectomy, and this just crushed her. Her friends noticed that she had been really down, so they scraped together some money for a trip to London, and she stayed there for about 8 months. Like, those are some pretty nice friends. Yeah. And although the gesture was so kind from her friends, the trip really didn't improve her mood at all. A few months after this trip, her mom invites her to a trip to Alaska that she was taking with her friend. Connie constantly told her brother that she really didn't want to go because at this point, she was drinking and smoking more than ever. And she knew that she couldn't really do this on a trip with two elderly ladies, especially like her mom was being the strict Baptist that she was.
Yeah.
Her brother stated that she didn't really know how to turn her mom down, so she just went anyway. He also said that the trip with her mom might have been the thing that pushed her off the edge. In the summer of 1974, around the time of her 50th birthday, Connie sent out letters to her family and close friends. In the letters, she stated things like she wanted to have a fresh start and start elsewhere, and one letter even stated, "Human society fills me with grief and joy. I just can't find my place to plug into it." That's pretty deep.
Right.
After sending these letters out to the loved ones in her life, Connie packed her belongings into her Volkswagen Beetle and was never heard from or seen again.
Wow.
The first question that popped up to my head when I was reading this was, although her family and friends got these letters, and like this, it seemed like her friends paid for this trip to London for her and stuff like that, so it's not like she didn't have anyone that cared for her.
Right.
The main question that came to my head was, did they even try to look for her? I couldn't imagine like getting a farewell letter like that and not following up. Like immediately as I'm getting it, I'm calling like, what are you talking about? Like this? No, you're not just about to start over. Her youngest brother, who was the only remaining survivor of the Converse family, said that years later, after the disappearance, someone told him that they saw the name Elizabeth Converse in a phone book. Phil admits that he was embarrassed and couldn't bear to reach out to her because she told him that she wanted a fresh start, and it was her choice to leave. He didn't want to just barge into her new life, and she just set up for herself. Which, if that's my brother, and like when I was doing research on it, Phil and Connie had a really close relationship. Like he mentioned it, like not to like the extent where like her parents made her, but he was like, I looked at her as like a parent, like as well. Like she would always look out for me and like she would always do things for me. She always spent time with me and stuff. Like they really had a close relationship. So I feel like even if he did show up, she wouldn't have turned him down. Like I don't think so.
Right.
Her music eventually hit a bigger audience in 2004 when her music was released by Gene, who made a name for himself by then. By the year 2015, 18 records of Connie's were published, and she had a following a lot bigger than when she was alive. Her voice and talent alone was just too advanced for the time that she was in. And it's sad that it took, like, after she disappeared for all this time that, like, she got the recognition that she should have got back then.
She wanted her whole life, basically.
Yeah. Although her family and friends received those letters and her brother Phil didn't actively seek her out, they all came to the conclusion that Connie drove off a bridge and into a lake or river somewhere west of Michigan.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, we'll never know what happened to Connie Converse, but what I do know is that her music forever left its imprint in many people's lives. That case, like, really had me thinking for a while, like, what made you guys think that she ran into?
That she ran into the
like that's
like a lake. Why couldn't she just be off somewhere else? She could be in California having the time of her life.
But it's like, even though you guys came to that conclusion, it was just like no one thought to like maybe we should have a search team check these, like just to be sure. Like I don't know, like it just seems too like,
They
okay,
just
that
let
she
go
made
too
that.
quickly.
Yeah, they let go pretty easy on this. So I don't know. I just can't imagine myself doing that. But you never know if like they knew. I guess her brother seen how miserable she was, but I don't know. I still wouldn't be able to let that slide though, just as easy as the way it was. So those are our short cases for February. And we hope you guys like them. Aaliyah's going to have me pick out a random question now. I'm just going to like, wait, did you pick one out?
Oh yeah, I just used the generator. I think it was like 723.
Oh, okay. Wow, this one, this one's pretty, I don't know if I could do this one.
Yeah.
All right. Question 723. What's one thing could you easily live without? TV.
Really?
Yeah. Well, does it count if I watch Netflix and Hulu on my phone?
Yes, that counts.
Then never mind then.
I don't really watch TV, but it's still like I have the certain show that I have the shows that I have to watch, and then like there's YouTube.
Yeah,
and
okay, so I feel
Netflix
like you
and all
don't
of that.
particularly need a TV then. Like, okay, the
like
TV,
the TV
itself. I
not
can go
the
without
shows.
a TV itself. But the shows, yeah. The TV itself I'll get rid of. I can live without that. Like, I literally spent like my TV is just now being used often now because like when my boyfriend comes over, he watches the news and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, this TV works. I haven't plugged this thing in months. Like, it's nothing wrong with my TV. I actually got a nice one, but it's just like, my dad brought me a TV and I was just like, it's just going to sit in the living room. He's like, well, make it a decoration then. I don't care. And I'm like, all right. I like hang like my little headbands on it sometimes if I'm like in a rush or like throw my coat over it. Like, I don't use TVs. I rather use my phone.
I use it for light
Yeah.
at night.
That makes sense. I got a lamp in my room, so I still don't use the TV. When the kids are over, I give them my laptop. They watch the laptop. I forget that I have a TV for the most part. Like, you would think I lived like in Stone Age times. My house is like so quiet. So yeah, I could live without the actual TV.
Okay. I would say chocolate because I hate chocolate, but I use it for decorating cakes and stuff. So maybe burgers.
Oh, I've been craving a burger.
I hate burgers.
Oh, I love burgers so much, and that's what I've been eating all week. I can't wait to I really
I
want
don't
just
know
like
what
a
it
really.
is. I just don't like. I don't eat burgers. I don't know why.
You know what? That's so true. I've never seen you eat one.
I hate burgers.
I never paid attention to that before. Huh?
We go to the basement burger bar and I get a salad.
Who are you? Even David's looking at you funny, like,
They have
who
amazing
are you?
salad.
That's like going to McDonald's and asking for a side salad. Like, get the fries. Like,
When we go to the basement burger bar, I get a salad and mozzarella sticks.
okay, the mozzarella. You're really contradicting yourself there, Liam. Do you want to be healthy or not?
Oh, the healthiness, I don't care. I just like salad.
Okay, so that's the end of our first short. Well, not our first, but like that's the end of the short case
this month's
episode for
short
this
case.
month. That's not our first one. It was our second one. So we hope you guys liked it.
Thank you for listening to Crime in a Minute. You can find the transcripts, pictures we've discussed, as well as the links to our references at our website. There, you can also find the links to all of our social media. If you have a case you'd like us to talk about, you can leave a comment down below or go to the Contact Us page of the website and leave a suggestion. Each month, we will choose one for an episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps a lot.